Hello everyone. In this lab exercise, we will see how to add copy instruction and volume instruction inside the Docker file. Let us start with the copy instruction. I will see what are the containers which are running Docker ps-a. If I wanted to copy certain files to the Docker container, let us say I'll be creating a container name web04. I wanted to copy some files from the host machine to the Docker container. For that, what I will do is I'll open the Visual Studio Code and I will add some instructions in the Docker file. I'll write from Nginx. This is to pull the image from Nginx. Then I'll say copy, or I'll say work directory, and I need to specify the directory inside the container. So the container directory will be there, and Nginx HTML. So this is the directory inside the container, and I will add copy instruction. I wanted to copy some files. These file, so there are three files out of there are one folder and the Docker file itself. This I am not going to add anyway, and this is the file which I wanted to copy from this local host machine to the Docker container file system. So let us see what is there inside the index.html file, and so this is the content. Fine. Otherwise, I will change this content because I have been using this content since previous lab exercise. Hello new Morpheus here. Shall we execute matrix loaded, and agent Smith is after us from matrix. We shall meet him, or we meet him in reloaded. Over and out. So this is the file which I wanted to copy. Let us see after the copying of this particular file to the container, we should be able to browse this file, right? And for that, I have to simply specify the file name which I wanted to copy, index.html. I can copy this particular location and I'll just paste it. So this is the path. Let us try using the dot itself. It will automatically take the working directory, and I will save this Docker file. I'll go to the command prompt. I have to run the command to build the image. To build Docker build dot, then I need to tag. I'll say this one as my underscore nginx 01. The version is v1. Okay, I am not in the directory where the Docker file exists. So for that, I can actually use this particular terminal itself. So I am inside the terminal of Visual Studio Code, and we have the okay. I have to change to tab 02. Okay, here we have the Docker file, or else I could have right away copied this directory path and changed directory, and from here I should be able to run the command, and I'll run the command. Okay, now this particular Docker file has created a new image by name my nginx. So this is the image what it has created, and it has copied the file, the file what we have updated, index.html file, to the location. So this particular location it has copied, and to run a container out of this image, I need to docker run -d, and name of the container I'll say web04, and then I will use port. Now, what is the port? 8082. So I'll use 8083, and I'll map it to 80. Then I have to specify the image name. Okay, I missed the P, and we are able to see the container. Okay, this is the new container what we have created. And if I connect to the container, docker exe -it web04 and bash, we should be able to straight away connect to the working directory whatever we have mentioned in this Docker file. So bash, we are into the same directory, and if I say ls ltr, then there is an index.html file. Let us see the file what we have copied. It is there, cat x.html. Yes, it is the same file what we have. And if I browse to that particular container, 127.0.0.1 colon 8084, what is the port which we have used? The port what we have used is 8083. Yeah, this is the same content what we have updated, and we are able to see inside the Docker container. So this works perfectly fine. We are able to use the copy instructions inside our Docker container. I will stop the will exit, and I will say Docker stop web04 Docker rm web04. I'll remove this container Docker ps cache, and I will remove all the containers web03 web02 web0. So I'll remove all the containers Docker ps cache. So now we are able to successfully browse to the container website. Now let us add a volume instruction. To add volume instruction, I need to use volume inside the Docker file. And before that, I wanted to check if there is any volume which exists. Docker volume list. Yeah, there are two volumes, and I will say docker volume prune, or we can even go with docker volume rm, and we can actually remove the volumes one by one. The volume has been deleted. Similarly, we can use prune command. It will delete all the volumes which are not connected to the containers. So if any of the volumes which are not connected to the containers, all the volumes will be deleted. So we need to be extra cautious. Might be the volumes have some very crucial data, important data, which is an important data for the business applications. So you need to be extra cautious whenever you are pruning the volumes. Okay, all the volumes has been deleted. So Docker volume list, there is no volume. Now what I will do is I will add volume instruction for the Docker file. For that, and I will copy this same folder. This is the path which I wanted to copy. I will paste inside this bracket with double quotes. So basically what we are doing in this particular Docker file is we are pulling an image from Nginx, and we are setting the working directory for the container. We are copying a file from the local machine, and this particular file is there in this local machine in this location where we have the Docker file. This is the same location where we have the Docker file, and we are creating a volume. This is the volume what we are going to create, and this is the same location inside the container file system. So this is the file system inside the container, and we are creating a volume. This particular volume is anonymous volume. This is not a named volume. This is an anonymous volume which the Docker is going to manage. And if I save the file, Control S, I will save the file. I will go to the command prompt. I will see once again if there is any Docker volume list. So we don't have any volumes. We have the Docker file in this location. I can use Docker. I will do ls docker build dot, and then I will tag. I'll simply say my underscore nginx v2. Now we have successfully built the image. Let us see the images. We have the image which we have created, which is my underscore nginx v2. I'll clear the screen and I'll say Docker images, and we have the image what we have created. This is the image. Now I will run the container out of this image, docker run -d, and I will specify the name of the container. Because we are not running any containers, I will use the same name, web01, or I will use app01 for this time, and I will use web app01, and I will use the port number 8080 which is available. And for the image, I need to select this particular image, and also I need to use the tag as well. And if I don't use the tag, it is again going to pull the image from up.docker.com. See, if I don't use the tag, unable to find the image locally, and it just exit out of the command prompt. Now I have to mention the tag as well, v2. So whatever images we are creating, which is custom image, we have to specify the image name with the tag docker ps cache, and we have the container which is running. If I connect to the container docker, or else we can simply browse to the container and see, and let us see if there is a volume which is created. There should be an anonymous volume which should be created with these instructions, right? This is what we have created the docker file for, and this instruction should have created a volume. Let us see if there is any volume. Yeah, we can see there is a volume which is automatically created. And if I inspect this docker volume inspect, we should be able to see when the docker file has been created, when the volume has been created. Now if I browse to the container, then okay, this time it is 8080. Yeah, we are able to see the same information. So this information whatever we have copied, it is there inside the docker container. I will clear the screen and docker exec dash it and web app 01 dash ls cat index.html. So this is the content what we have copied into the container from our local machine. So we have the same content. So this is an anonymous volume. Only anonymous volume we will be able to use inside the docker file, and named volumes we need to attach using the command prompt, using the syntax while we are creating the container. Let us see what will happen if I delete the container. We should be able to attach the same volume to another container, right? Docker top web app 01 and docker rm web app 01 docker ps cache. There is no container. Fine. What is the status of the volume? Let us see. Docker volume list. There is a volume, and if I wanted to attach this particular volume to the container, I can attach and see if there is an data. Docker run dash d, and I need to specify the name of the container web 02, then dash v. I will take this path, will paste the path, then I will use the port 8080, then colon 80, then I also need to get the image name. The image my underscore nginx, and v2 will be the image name. Docker ps docker exec dash it and web 02 dash ls cat. So we are able to delete the container, and with the anonymous volume, whatever we have created using the Docker file, we are able to map, or we are able to mount the same anonymous volume to a different container. Let us see if we are able to browse. Yeah, we are able to browse to the website. This is perfectly fine. Volumes and bind mounts are specific to the containers. We can use volumes and bind mount when we run the container. This is because we might have a volume created in a different namespace and bind mount with a specific path which needs to be mounted inside the container file system. We can use the volume and bind mount option while creating the container. If I wanted to see what are the volumes which I have created, for your information, I have been using this Docker desktop for all my demos. And if I, so basically we have containers. This is the container which is running, and the images what we have created. So all the images are listed here, and the volumes. So this is the anonymous volume what we have just created. And if I wanted to access the data, I can go inside this, and if I open this, I'll be able to see the content. I hope this exercise was useful to understand copy and volume instructions inside the Docker file. Thank you for watching the video. If you like the content, please subscribe and share. Thank you and take care.